What's going on, everybody? Doc, Average Gamer Guys, back yet again into another Let's Talk Tarkov episode. So we're jumping in. It's been a little bit since we did this the last time, and I figured it was probably a good time to jump into it. We just recently, a day or two ago, we got a recent patch. We then had a subsequent patch to fix some things. So we'll spend a little bit of time talking about that, and then there's just been a hot buzz around the community that I thought would be good that we maybe spend a few minutes on, which is inertia, and maybe more importantly, where we are in the wipe. So those are a couple of topics today. Normal format, we might hang out, I might show some things. I'm going to continue to play around with our scenes and what we got going on here, so let me know which one of these you like. But let's jump in and let's talk Tarkov. All right, so first things first, I think we really quickly talk about the update that hit on March 10th. Small patch, patch 12.5.3, with actually a couple of pretty major things that occurred. So, return of height of jumps prior to the patch. Oh, this wasn't patch 12.15.3. Yeah, I don't know. But they changed the height distance of jumps. I don't have great data on what that looks like, but basically my understanding is you could jump less. Strength impacted it. They did some modifications to that. They have since made adjustments to that and basically rolled it back. I haven't done a ton of testing since then. I played for maybe a day or so, day and a half by the time this goes up. I will tell you, it still feels pretty smooth. I think it feels a little bit better, but that's could just purely be coincidence and me knowing that they made some adjustments. I also have pretty high level strength, not max strength yet, but that certainly plays into it. What I was, and that is should be the important thing for a lot of you. However, with this being said, the UI display element borders and like fuzziness of things definitely did get corrected. Now, here's the funny part. This patch comes out, they fixed it. Borders everything, it cleaned it back up. It was like it how it was prior to the most recent patch. It then subsequently made a few rigs, and the slots inside of the rigs like goofy as shit. If you noticed, like your scav vest, the other scav vest that's black, I can't remember which one it is. The one rig that has the 2x2 and then 2x1s and then 2 single slots, it basically moves some of the individual boxes of items where you would place them and like overlap them or move their position. It was very weird. It wasn't on every rig, especially the bigger rigs, and armor rigs did not seem to get affected, but whatever they did subsequently screwed that up to the point where you couldn't even pull some of the items out of at least one of the rigs because basically 2 items were stacked on top of each other. It was very interesting and very it was a little frustrating, but I can happy to announce that if you're watching this and maybe you haven't played over the week, that has then since been fixed. Incorrect bag and rig slot display, so that has been adjusted. There was a subsequent patch that came out, so we are past that. But let me know what you think about jump height. I was happy to see some of these minor things. They've got to continue to do maintenance on the game. The other nice thing, and people have been talking about this, especially with what's going on in the world, which I don't really want to get into. It's nice to see that at least updates and things are continuing to happen, which means to me, folks, that are still working. And that's probably the best news that we could get. So take that for what it is. Try not to read too much into it. And again, I really don't want to go down this conversation because it's been talked about a lot, and I think there's a lot that goes into it. But we got a patch, we got fixed when they broke the things in the patch, and we're moving forward. So that was really good. Happy to see that. As I kind of transition back over, the majority of what I wanted to spend the time on today talking about was inertia. And Twitter has been ablaze with what people think of Twitter. I'm not going to get into any specifics. If you're not on Twitter, this probably was the one time that's the best for you. Let me say a couple of things up front. Everyone is, I don't want to say entitled to the opinion, but everyone can have an opinion. I think entitlement isn't exactly the right word. You can have your opinion. You can like something, you can dislike something, you can have reasoning why. That's perfectly fine. Everybody should be able to do that. Everybody, to a certain extent, you should be fine to voice your opinion, right? As long as it's constructive and is based in some level of logic. Now, here's the thing that's interesting. We all don't agree on each other's logic. That's part of human discourse and disagreements, and why we fight, and why people like apple pie and some people like pumpkin pie. That's a terrible example, but we just do. People just like things for different reasons. What I think is really interesting is, at the end of the day, this is a video game. That it was a change that arguably had a big impact on how the game is played. And it is understandable that some people were not going to like the new system. Some people were going to think it was great. Other people were going to have no comment on it or just get used to it, right? I think that's probably more so the category I'm at. At first, it felt really goofy. It did. I will say that up front. The first probably couple of days of playing was like, wow, I don't know about this so much. And then it starts to scale down as you level up your endurance, as you level up your strength. It obviously is definitely scalable with how heavy you are, which is also important. So what I've come to see is, again, this is my opinion, what I've come to see is Inertia was a good change because it didn't completely stop what arguably is, you know, the W key meta, people wanting to run and play the game aggressively. I don't see it, after you've played a little while and gotten used to it to a certain extent, I don't see it having a huge impact on that. What I do think it has done is put a little bit of a more even playing field for the other play styles. So let's say that it slightly brought down W key meta, maybe just slightly. But let's say it raised every other play style up, and you can say, well, you shouldn't play the game that way. That's a bunch of bullshit, in my opinion. Sorry for the language, but that is. Play the game how you want. If it makes you successful, we might not like it. I hate exit campers, but it's there and it's part of it, right? And you should know that you should have to fight against that and be prepared for it. Sometimes you're going to win, sometimes you're going to lose. But my base perspective is, if it brought this down a little bit and it brought every other play style up a little bit, it made other play styles a little bit more viable, like the more stealthy and tactical approach. That's the interesting thing is, I do think Inertia has, to a certain extent, helped that quite a bit. Slower play styles shouldn't always be rewarded in this game. There are times you got to get aggressive, you got to huck some nades, you got to push, you know, you got to blind fire, pre-fire an angle, and try to kill somebody. Absolutely. Being a dynamic player in this game from Tarkov, I think, is also totally underrated. Your ability to shift from going aggressive to holding an angle, being sneaky, being tactical, flanking is also very important. The ability to shift between all of those, I think, is what makes a true good Escape from Tarkov player, in my opinion, and will give you more long-term success and probably less frustration in this game. With all those things being said, if Inertia allowed a little bit better of a balance between playstyles, I think it was a decent change overall. That's not to say that it's been implemented perfectly. That's not to say that it doesn't need tweaks. But it is what it is. What I find very interesting, and the base point of why I wanted to bring this up, is there was just so much shade and flack being thrown around and so many people just arguing about it. It's just amazing to me that we can't come and just have what I would call like a literal civil discussion about it, right? It's also interesting to me that we can't just understand that some people are just not going to like it, you know? Some people don't like some of the other changes. One of the changes I hate that I can't eat a Snickers bar and pack a fucking magazine at the same time. That frustrates the hell out of me. I get why it can't happen, because I'm only using my hands to do one or the other, blah, blah, blah. That just, to me, seems like something that should be able to happen from just the idea of just continuous gameplay, right? Like, that doesn't seem super impactful. It seems like that should be something that should be able to happen, especially with the mechanics that are in the game. Anyways, we're not all going to like the changes. I think we need to be able to talk about why the changes impact certain things and to what level they do, and then how do we make adjustments with that system in order to improve it for everybody going forward. So my takeaway from this is, what I would love to hear your comments on Inertia. We're 90 some odd days, I think, into the is that right? We're 89 days as the recording this into the wipe. So we're 3 months into this wipe. These are my stats, by the way, where I'm sitting, level 54 on my way to Kappa. And like a lot of us have enough time to really bake it out, right? And have probably come up with a conclusion of where we'd like to be at it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I think inertia is obviously going to continue to be a topic for this game for a long while. It is just interesting to me though, because I think this is definitely the first layer of more. Unconscious state, a whole bunch of other things I think are going to go into this. And I think it did bring a little bit better of a balance to the different play styles. And again, if we want to go into the conversation of you shouldn't be able to play this game the way you want, blah, 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 you know, should you sit in a bush all game and wait for somebody to run by? In my opinion, no. But if you want to, and you get rewarded by doing that, and that's the only way that you can have fun, or you have fun doing that, who are we to stop you, right? And if we really wanted to stop that, then I guess mechanics would come into the game to prevent that, and that's been attempted to with certain things. So yeah, I don't want to dive on this one for too long, but just remember, if you're voicing your opinion on the internet, you're gonna get some flack for it, and let's just try to maintain respect and have a discussion. And at the end of the day, you shouldn't be interested in changing someone's mind. What I think is an interesting perspective to take out of this is if somebody disagrees with you, you should figure out why they disagree with you and what's driving that conversation, right? What's driving that decision? What's driving their perspective? Because maybe you see some things that are the same, but you've taken a different approach to them, or you've applied that logic differently, which, you know, maybe not. Maybe you just totally disagree. I don't know. But inertia, 90 days in, what do you think? I've told you where I'm at. And be nice to each other on the internet. So outside of that, and kind of along the same vein of where we're at, I showed my stats here a little bit. I'm on the grind to Kappa, getting there, 8 levels away. Got everything turned in, got the quests done, working on some other quests too. I'm excited to try to get a few quests I did not get complete that were introduced last wipe. So working on that, like calibration and a few other things. But what's interesting to me is it's at the point of the wipe, and I've done enough of these to know that at this point we're in the onboard phase. That's what I call it. Some other people would call it that. Some other people might disagree with me, but we're at the phase of the game where if you've been playing since day one of the wipe and you're a relatively experienced player, maybe this is your second or third wipe, you're getting to the point where you have a lot of what you wanted to get done. And when that happens, people do a few things. They say, this game is boring, we need new content, it's time to wipe. You have a huge other swath of the community that might not play as much, and you guys know I play a lot of Tarkov. That says, no, there's no way. I'm not even to level 30 yet. Like, I'm still trying to grind through. I'm still trying to get max traders. That's probably where a bulk of the player base, the quieter player base, is. But the loud voices come out and they say, I'm bored, new content, inertia's dumb. Let's fix it and let's wipe and let's get some new stuff in here. Here's my perspective on this. It's okay if you're there. I'm not far from that. I just started up our Lab Rat series, season 2, which is basically I go into labs with a pistol and a headset, and I try to basically pistol to hero it. I start to do those things at this point or close to this point in the wipe because I like to challenge and change up my playstyle. It's the same reason, and I have a fresh perspective on this because I run a second account. You guys have all seen it, the Escape series, which is just a solo playthrough. So I kind of get to play through this game more than once. I'm also running my Hardcore series, which is just a totally nice change of pace, completely different from those from my main account and even the Escape series, because it's a different rule set and it's challenging and frustrating as hell, but totally fun. Well, my suggestion, and I'm going to do probably a separate video on this here next week, is if you're at that point where you're starting to get bored, you don't want to do some of the quests, you have your max traders, maybe you don't care about leveling up and you just want to like PvP or do whatever, or farm rubles, or I don't know, whatever the case is, I have 2 suggestions for you. One, come up with some kind of goal, right? So if you're not one that likes to do quests, which is totally fine, I totally understand that, come up with another goal. Maybe make enough money to buy a red key card or some other type of key card, or maybe do enough runs to be able to barter for something, or go and, you know, try to wipe the cultist and Tagilla and Factory. I don't know, but come up with something, or just be determined. Listen, I'm just gonna PvP. I'm gonna PvP and I'm gonna grind money, and that way I can keep PvPing and start going into maps that you don't do that and learn them really in and out, and try to get in fights and push and whatever the case may be. Or obviously you could just not play the game. That's not what I would suggest, but I think have a goal or have something that you can work towards. Because at the end of the day, if you're just going in, this game, at this point in the game, if you're at that level or you're near that point, it can feel very much like just Call of Duty with none of the reward on the end. Because you go into 5 raids, you die in 3 of them, but you make it out of 2. Yeah, you could be like, cool, I survived 2 raids, but you didn't really get anything for it outside of money. At least in Call of Duty, you'd be like, hey, won that round and I, whatever, leveled up my skins for my gun. I don't know. There's things that keep that progression from getting stale from doing the same thing over and over again. So I would say have a goal. Sorry, slight interruption there from my daughter, but what I was saying was, it goes back to my second point, which is find a different way to play the game. If you have been running from like level 20 to level 40, the same kit or very similar gear, same guns, playing generally the same maps outside of maybe spreading around to do some quests, do something different. Grab some different guns. You know what I mean? Try some different maps. Do some challenge-like things. What I think you will come to find is if you play that, you'll come to find that you can take some of the stress out of the game because you won't care as much about the gear. And if you don't have any money to do this, this is pretty hard. So maybe your goal should be farm some money and then get to this point. If you're newer, maybe this is your first or second wipe. But if you're an experienced player, find a different way to play it. Do some pistol to hero runs. Grab some gun that you've just never really played with. Build 5 of them and run that gun for an evening. You may end up hating it. It may be terrible because it might be a totally worthless gun. However, what I think you'll come to find is that changing up your playstyle will actually bring more enjoyment to the game. At least it does for me. And like I said, I'll probably do a separate video on this, but that's just a baseline tip on how, if you're at that point in the wipe, and we probably have another at least 90 days, if not more. That's just my base pure guess. But if this wipe is any less than 6 months, with how much content we got and everything else, they need a lot of time to continue to collect data. And I think we're going to see a long wipe. I would expect at least 6 months, if not longer, 8 months. I hope it's not quite that far. I would like to. 6 month time period feels real good. But you got to remember, the next thing after this, you know, they can wipe, but they don't usually wipe for no reason. So we have quite a bit of game left. Find a fun way to do that and have a goal. If you can do those 2 things, mix it up a little bit, I think you'll have a lot more enjoyment. Or if you're typically a solo player, start playing in some squads. If you're typically a squad up player and you're afraid of running, not afraid, but if you don't like running solo, try running some solo. You may continue to find that you hate it, or you may find that it's just a play style difference for you and you can get a little bit more comfortable there. So those are the topics I wanted to cover today. Hopefully everybody's been doing good. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Like I said, a lot going on in the world. A lot is going on with not a whole ton with the game, but we got some patches and some updates. I'm really excited. We still have Lighthouse expansion that we should be seeing here at some point. Streets is obviously still in the works. We're going to continue to get some things modified. A lot of discussion to be had about Inertia. Like I said, please let me know your comments down below, what you think. Love to chat with you. But that's kind of what's been on my mind as far as Tarkov. My pure purpose and goal for me is going to be to try to complete most of these tasks. I'm not doing Stylish 1. I've heard it's been absolutely terrible with the changes to Killa. But I'm going to very much try to complete just about all of the rest of these. So we'll get Collector knocked out. Cleaner, I think this is very achievable now with the changes to Raiders. Night Sweep, I actually did complete last time. I think this will be a really fun one to be hitting a bunch of night raids and trying to hunt cultists. That should be good. Calibration, I'm definitely getting this one done. We're making our way towards that. I'm definitely going to kill the Sturmy boy. I did not get this done last wipe either. And I think that's going to be unique, so I'd like to try to get that complete. And then counteraction, I also really do want to get done. So I'm really going to try to clear up my list here of tasks. That's going to be my main goal, again, outside of getting to level 62. But here's where we're sitting. I have not been surviving a lot because I've been doing a lot of dumb things, and really look forward to on the channel. Hardcore is going to continue. Escape series is going to continue. Challenge series are on the way. So more lab rat. I'm going to do some weapon testing, I've got some other really cool ideas for some other videos. We're going to pick up some of our snowball series. Our budget loadout series too is going to be another one. I'm very excited to get back to that. Those always usually do really well. So ends up being a ton of fun, and it's nice for me because I get to change up my playstyle while still grinding some XP. So we're going to be doing that. But hopefully you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. As always, quick plug here, like, comment, subscribe. If you're not subscribed and you're watching this, please consider it. Trying to hit 10K or above. Every subscription counts. Other than that, you can support the channel by just watching the videos, hit that like button, and throw a comment down below. And these are especially the videos I'd love to be able to chat with you about. So don't be afraid. If you've never commented before, throw a comment down below. Say hi. Let me know what you're thinking. If you got questions, let me know. We also do stream on Twitch Fridays and Saturdays, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to come chat with us, especially about state of the game, Tarkov, Elden Ring, anything else, gaming community in general, that is the place to do it. Questions about streaming, whatever it ends up being, that link is in the description. Like I said, we'll do that 8:30 Eastern Standard Time Fridays and Saturdays, and then randomly throughout the week when we can. If you want to catch us and stay up to date with the channel, we've got a Twitter, which is where I got some of my material from for this one, as well as we've got a Discord. Discord, best place to stay up to date with the channel. Post stuff, post memes, post pictures, post goofy shit over there all the time, as well as let you know when we're going live. So if you want to catch us, you got places and ways to do it. I've been Doc. We're the Average Gamer Guys. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next Let's Talk Tarkov. Peace.